The Afton family is the dark heart of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, a small, fractured, doomed unit at the center of a horror saga that spans video games, novels, and at least one cinematic universe, still trying to figure out what to do with them. They are not the only family in this story, but they are the family that broke everything. Every haunted animatronic, every dead child, every fire, every glitched out digital ghost in a later sequel traces back, eventually to one man's choices and the children who paid for them. The Aftons are why Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is a ghost story instead of a restaurant chain. Here are the 5 central figures and events that define the Afton tragedy, ordered by chronological narrative impact, starting with the patriarch who started everything, tracking the domino effect across his doomed children, and ending with the fire meant to close the curse forever. The curse, as it turns out, was not so easily closed. William Afton. William Afton is the original sin of the entire FNAF universe. Co-founder of Fazbear Entertainment, alongside Henry Emily, gifted animatronics engineer, technological pioneer, and quietly, almost casually, one of the most prolific child murderers in horror gaming history. The tragic downfall is not really tragic in the conventional sense because William chose every step of it. After a falling out with Henry and a personal collapse that the lore implies involved the death of his own youngest son, William began luring children away from Freddy Fazbear's Pizza locations and murdering them, hiding the bodies inside the animatronic suits he had personally designed. The missing children incident, 5 children dead in one event, was him. Multiple later disappearances were also him. He used his own technological access to the restaurants as cover for years of killing, and the staff never realized the killer was the man who built the animatronics they were standing next to. His own end came inside the very suits he had weaponized. After being haunted by the vengeful spirits of his victims, William attempted to retreat into the original Spring Bonnie suit he had used during the early murders, hoping the suit's hybrid costume animatronic design would protect him. The suit's spring locks, the mechanism that allowed the animatronic to also function as a wearable costume, failed catastrophically while he was inside it. Hundreds of metal components snapped inward simultaneously, impaling him through his body in dozens of places, killing him slowly inside the very thing he had used to kill others. The animatronic possession is the founding horror of the franchise. William did not die clean. His body decomposed inside the suit, while his consciousness, his hatred, his survival instinct, his refusal to be done, refused to leave it. The fused corpse and machine became Springtrap, the desiccated yellow rabbit animatronic with William's body visible through the gaps in its mechanical frame. He spent decades trapped in an abandoned safe room, being slowly mummified by the suit, conscious the entire time. The ultimate fate is the most disturbing on this list, because William does not stay dead. He burns alive in the climactic fire at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza place. He returns in the security breach era as Burntrap, his charred remains somehow still functioning. He appears as Glitchtrap in the VR titles, a digital consciousness uploaded into a software development project manipulating new victims through code rather than physical violence. William Afton is the franchise's argument that some kinds of evil cannot be killed by death, fire, or even the deletion of their physical form. He is the closest thing the FNAF universe has to a recurring devil. The Bite of 1983. The Bite of 1983 is the founding family tragedy. The moment William Afton's youngest son, known to the fanbase only as the Crying Child, died at a birthday party that should have been a celebration. The event is the emotional engine of FNAF 4, the game built almost entirely around recreating the trauma of the child's final week of life. The tragic downfall is one of the most disturbing setups in the entire franchise. The Crying Child was terrified of the animatronics, specifically the yellow Fredbear and Spring Bonnie suits at the original Fredbear's family diner. His older brother Michael knew this. Michael spent the days leading up to the child's birthday party tormenting him with the costumes, scaring him, mocking his fear. At the party itself, Michael and his friends decided to give the Crying Child a closer look at Fredbear by lifting him up and forcing his head into the animatronic's open mouth. The mechanism activated. Fredbear's jaws closed around the Crying Child's skull. Frontal lobe trauma. Severe brain damage. The child was rushed to a hospital where he lingered for a brief period before dying, possibly speaking to Michael in the final hospital scene before his life ended. The Bite was a prank that went wrong because the animatronics were never designed for children to be inside them in that way, and the older brother's cruelty cost his younger brother his life. The animatronic possession is more more ambiguous than the other Afton cases because the crying child does not have a single confirmed animatronic vessel. Fan consensus and developer hints point toward Golden Freddy, the rare, glitch-like apparition that appears across multiple games as the spirit form of the crying child drifting between the cabinets and the dreams of the franchise's various night guards. He does not haunt a specific suit so much as the entire animatronic concept itself, the way grief tends to attach to a room rather than a chair. The ultimate fate is, by some readings, the most peaceful on this list. In the climactic fire of Pizzeria Simulator, Golden Freddy is among the haunted animatronics laid to rest, the crying child finally released from a 40-year-long lingering. By other readings, he persists as a quiet presence in the franchise's haunted backgrounds, never fully gone, just waiting. His tragedy is not just that he died young, it is that his own family caused it, and his father's later crimes were partly a consequence of the grief that followed. Elizabeth Afton. Elizabeth Afton is William's daughter, the middle child of the Afton family, and the only one whose death was caused directly by her father's own creation. Her story is the franchise's clearest example of how William's work as an engineer was never separable from his work as a killer. The tragic downfall begins in William's workshop. He had designed Circus Baby, an animatronic specifically engineered with a hidden ice cream dispensing mechanism that, on activation, would extend a mechanical claw to grab a nearby child and pull them inside the suit. The animatronic was, in plain terms, a child-killing machine disguised as a children's entertainment robot. William built it. He knew exactly what it could do. He warned Elizabeth to stay away from it, repeatedly, with the specific level of insistence that, to a curious child, sounded like an invitation. One day, when William was not watching, Elizabeth approached Circus Baby alone, drawn by the ice cream dispenser and her own fascination with her father's mysterious creation. Baby's claw extended. Elizabeth was scooped into the suit. She died inside the machine her own father had built to kill other people's children. The animatronic possession is direct and immediate. Elizabeth's consciousness merged with Circus Baby herself, giving the machine a tortured awareness of who she had been and what had killed her. The animatronic became more than a chassis. She became Elizabeth, twisted by her own death, retaining her memories and her relationship to William. Baby's dialogue in Sister Location is recognizably the voice of a daughter speaking to her father, alternately pleading, accusing, and manipulating across the same conversations. The ultimate fate is the Pizzeria Simulator fire, where Elizabeth, by then operating as Scrap Baby, a damaged and partially rebuilt version of the original animatronic, is lured back into the trap alongside her father and the rest of the haunted suits. She burns. Her remnant, the supernatural substance that lets souls inhabit machinery in the FNAF universe, is consumed by the flames meant to free her. Whether she is genuinely at peace afterward or whether she persists in some form across later entries is one of the franchise's ongoing ambiguities, but the fire is, narratively, the moment she stops being William's possession and finally gets to be her own ending. Michael Afton. Michael Afton is the oldest of the three Afton children, the brother who caused the bite of 1983, and the character whose arc is the closest thing to redemption the family ever gets. His story is the franchise's slow accounting of a man trying to make right what his cruelty broke as a child. The tragic downfall is multi-staged. As a young teenager, Michael's bullying of the crying child killed his own brother. The guilt of that event shadows the rest of his life, and as an adult, he becomes the figure the player controls across multiple games. First as the night guard at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in the original FNAF, later as Eggs Benedict at Circus Baby's Pizza World in Sister Location. He is sent by his father, William, on a specific mission to free Elizabeth from inside Circus Baby and bring her back. The mission goes catastrophically wrong. Inside Circus Baby's facility, Michael is ambushed by the Funtime animatronics, which have been taken over by a fused entity called Enard, a writhing pile of animatronic endoskeletons inhabited by the souls of multiple victims, including a still-aware Elizabeth. Enard scoops Michael, removing his internal organs while he is still alive, and uses the resulting hollowed-out body as a meat suit to escape the facility and walk into the outside world. The animatronic possession in Michael's case is reversed. He is not the soul possessing the machine, he is the body being possessed by the machine. He survives the scooping in a sense, but the corpse puppet that walks around afterward is a different entity, with Enard riding inside him until the writhing animatronic eventually exits him through a sewer drain. Michael somehow retains consciousness inside his own slowly decomposing body, his skin turning a sickly purple as the corpse animates itself through pure will and remnant. The ultimate fate is the Pizzeria Simulator finale, where Michael Michael, by this point a walking corpse held together by spite and unfinished business, finally confronts his father, his sister, and the haunted animatronics inside the burning pizzeria. He chooses to stay. He chooses to burn alongside them. His final monologue, delivered to William in the flames, is the closest the franchise gets to an apology. Not just from son to father, but from a survivor to the dead. The bite of 1983 is finally paid for, in the only currency the FNAF universe accepts: the fire at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place. The fire is the climactic event of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, the game that was supposed to end the FNAF series before the series demonstrated repeatedly that it could not be ended. The fire is the trap, the funeral, and the reckoning all at once. The tragic downfall is decades in the making. Henry Emily, William Afton's original business partner, the co-creator of the animatronics, the father of one of the children Afton killed early in the timeline, has spent his entire post-Fazbear life waiting for the right moment to end this. The Pizzeria Simulator gameplay is his elaborate trap. The player, controlling Michael Afton or a player character standing in for him, is unwittingly running a salvage operation that lures every remaining haunted animatronic, Springtrap, Scrap Baby, Molten Freddy, and the rest, into a single building. Once they are all inside, Henry locks the doors. The animatronic possession is, in this final sequence, the entire reason the fire matters. Every soul still bound to a chassis is in the building. William's hatred-fueled Springtrap, Elizabeth's tortured Scrap Baby, the fused remnants of multiple children inside Molten Freddy, Michael's slowly failing corpse, the crying child as Golden Freddy, lingering on the edges, Henry's own daughter, Charlie, possibly present in some form. The fire is designed to do what nothing else has: burn the remnant itself, the supernatural substance that lets souls inhabit machinery, and finally let all of them rest. The ultimate fate is the moment Henry monologues over the intercom while the building burns. He apologizes to the children for taking so long. He addresses his daughter directly. He addresses William with the specific contempt of a man who has waited 40 years to say what he is about to say. The animatronics scream, the building collapses, the flames consume the lobby, the parts and service room, the entire restaurant, and everyone inside it. It should be the end. It is not. The fire is a real ending for most of the Afton family: Elizabeth, Michael, the crying child, the murdered children. But William persists in digital form across later games, rebuilt in code as Glitch Trap, returning as Burn Trap, refusing to accept the ending Henry tried to give him. The fire was meant to be the curse's final chapter. It turned out to be a comma, not a period. The franchise has been writing the next paragraph ever since. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the video on the screen now.